This entire team has been lifted tonight by Odell Beckham. This is sick. Put this to music.
Welcome. We're back. We're not in the HQ today. We're on the road. Lots going on. Might have COVID. We might not have COVID. No one knows. No one knows. Everyone has COVID, or no one has COVID. No one knows yet. We're here today. It's not the power rankings this time. We're breaking down the top 10 players at each position coming into the fantasy finals, the fantasy playoffs, I should say. We've got top 10 running backs, wide receivers, QBs, tight ends. This is standard scoring for anyone watching the video. If you play PPR, just bump up the guys who catch the ball more, who, I don't know, figure it out yourself, I guess. Anyways, we will jump right into it. Starting off at RB, this one's pretty straightforward. Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the league, capable of a house call at any minute. Elite usage, offense runs the ball first. Don't even really need to get into it too much more. Also play Las Vegas in the fantasy finals. That's our third best fantasy matchup according to Yahoo. Second, we have Dalvin Cook, top RB talent in the league. Maybe isn't kind of top of the rankings for some people right now because he's coming off an injury. Seems to be having a bit of a revenge tour. Maybe it's just in the Rad League with the King Mike getting back in the playoffs, trying to ride his workhorse to another chip. But something about that Thursday night game coming off the injury, he seemed like he was out to prove something to some people. Third, this is where it kind of gets tough. I've got Najee Harris. This guy will not be the RB1 for the fantasy playoffs. I will guarantee you that. But he might have some of the best volume in the league, so his floor is top 10 RB is pretty much as locked in as these other two guys ahead of him. So he should be a staple for you for sure. Coming up number 4, Austin Eckler, one of the best offenses in the league. He can be used in all scenarios. He also plays Houston in the fantasy finals, so we should see a big day there. Number 5, Joe Mixon. Mixon had a great season so far. Great run first offense. Part of the reason why he's one of the RB touchdown league leaders in the league. But not too much more to say. Burrow's good QB. This team knows how to move the ball, whether that's running or through the air. One thing I've noticed a little bit this year, though, is Burrow may not be the greatest red zone QB, so they definitely rely on the run a little bit down there. The only thing with Mixon is his playoff schedule isn't the best per se. Just against Baltimore and KC in there, those could be more so shootout type games where the game script might be a little tough. Number 6, Alvin Kamara. He's one of the best fantasy football running backs there is, has been for a couple years. Only concerns, team's not that great. The offense isn't that great. You never know if Taysom Hill is going to steal a couple rushing TDs. Either way, though, Kamara should have his fair share, and he's going to perform if he's on the field. Number 7, this is where it gets a little dicey. I've got James Conner, the Arizona Cardinals. It's probably much higher compared to where other people have him ranked. But, Arizona's a great offense. Conner pretty much finds the end zone every week. And he's kind of an underrated, top RB in the league in terms of he can handle all situations. He definitely proved that to us last week with his pass catching abilities. He's big RB, used on the goal line. So he should have no issue kind of continuing some dominance here into the playoffs. Number 8, playoff Leonard Fournette. He's one of those elite usage RBs in the league that's also on a great offense. So he could easily be a top 5 fantasy playoff RB. Number 9, Nick Chubb, hasn't really been a big performer as of late. Injury, weird situations going on with that team, but he's another RB that can handle a lot of work. He can take it to the house or anywhere on the field. But we'll see what kind of happens down the stretch with this team and Kareem Hunt's involvement. Number 10, this is a tough one. There's a lot of guys here I thought could have cracked in here. I've got Javonte Williams, running back, Denver Broncos, rookie RB that's just proven to us every week how good he is. So I kind of expect his usage to, uptick, even though Melvin Gordon has also looked really good. I'm betting with the young rookie. The offense is okay, but they're a run-first offense. They have a great fantasy playoff schedule, so they should be in good game script. And he's a guy that when they get down to the red zone, like him and Gordon should have chances at the end zone every week. I just think Javonte is better, and maybe we'll see his usage kind of uptick a little more. Some honorable mentions here at the RB position. Saquon Barkley, Cordell Patterson, David Montgomery, Antonio Gibson, Melvin Gordon, Josh Jacobs. These are there's a lot of good play. I could probably name 5 more that, could squeak into the top 10 here, depending on how the playoffs plays out, but just a little bit less confident with those guys. Moving on to wide receiver. Number 1, Devontae Adams. Seems kind of like a no-brainer for me. Some people would have Cooper Kupp here. They're kind of similar, but to me, Adams has just proven his multi-touchdown ability. He has that ability every week, and I would probably be betting on Aaron Rodgers just a little bit more than I'd be betting on Matthew Stafford. Adams and Kupp, they both have a great offenses, great QBs, like I just mentioned. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about Kupp, especially in this standard scoring, is his touchdown upside might be a little bit hindered with OBJ and Van Jeff kind of emerging in this offense. Whereas with the Packers, Adams is most likely going to be that 1A option in the red zone or if they're passing at the goal line, 9 times out of 10. And he's just a guy that can kill you with the TDs. But Kupp is a very, very close second. Probably a little bit higher floor, but a little bit less upside. Number 3, Justin Jefferson. He's emerging one of the best one of the best wide receivers kind of upcoming in the league here. It's a decent offense. His QB throws a lot. He's got a good target share, and he also has a good playoff schedule. I mean, he's another guy where he'll be racking up yards every week, and if those touchdowns comes, he could be wide receiver 1, no problem. Number 4, let me just take some water. Got here Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs. Not too much you need to say about this guy. He's obviously an elite talent in the league with Patrick Mahomes. He's been a little bit more boom or bust this year than maybe last year, but he's a guy where he'll kill your entire dreams in one play. It's happened to me before. It's happened to a lot of people before, where you're never safe until that game is literally over. It's never fun watching the Chiefs. But sometimes this team this year, their game script can be a little weird, so they might be scoring without Hill. Past couple weeks, they've shown that they like to run the ball, and then they've got other options. Just something seems a little bit weird with KC this year. Number 5, Mike Evans. This guy is just proven kind of be Mr. Consistent the last couple years in terms of touchdowns. He's got Brady throwing him the ball. Good offense. Not too much more you really need to say there. Number 6, Stephon Diggs. He's kind of similar guy to Evans to me, where he's really good offense, really good QB. The only thing I worry is that Allen might spread the ball around a little bit more in the red zone. So I think Evans has that kind of multiple TD upside a little bit more than Diggs. Number 7, Deebo Samuel. This guy plays wide receiver and RB. You never know which it's gonna be on any given week. But he can take it to the house pretty much any minute. He's one of the focal points of his team's offense. Just having a good year, he'll rack up yards and could score a couple TDs here as well. Number 8, 9, 10. These are all very, very close, and they all happen to be on Mike's team here in the Rad League. We've got Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Jamar Chase. Chris Godwin at 8, elite target volume. He's got Brady, he's got the Bucks. He's pretty skilled after the catch. One of the league leaders in yards after the catch this year. Obviously TD upside on a good team. Definitely just safe for giving you good yardage every week, even if he doesn't score. Number 9, Deontay Johnson. Again, kind of the ultimate floor play. Obviously, he does have an upside too, but this guy could get 10, 15 targets just like Godwin, so he's probably not going to be goosing you anytime soon. But obviously, he's got Big Ben and not Tom Brady, so I would just rather have Godwin there. Number 10, Jamar Chase. Someone who's kind of been a little bit more boom bust to end the season, but is shown to be one of Burrow's favorite targets. He can catch a long bomb. He'll also get looks in the red zone. So he's another guy where could be a little bit more hit and miss, but you're never having fun watching the Bengals game until that's over if you're going up against Chase. Some honorable mentions here: CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, Cordero Patterson. Moving on to quarterback here. Quarterback's it's kind of harder to judge in my opinion. Number 1, I've got Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. He's just proven he can do it, whether it's through the air, on the ground. His yardage is normally a pretty safe floor, and he can rack up TDs, whether it's through the air or on the ground. So his upside might just be unmatched in this league. 2, 3, very close. I've got Tom Brady then Josh Allen. Pretty similar quarterbacks. Allen might have a little bit more upside on the ground, but I just like Brady's consistency. Allen does have a bit of an injury. I don't really think it's too much though, but Brady's definitely, could probably consistently top 10 quarterback every week. That's hard to give up. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. Not too much to say. Elite upside and someone you think should have a good floor, but again, like I was saying earlier with KC, sometimes they're just in weird situations, or the game script's weird, or sometimes Mahomes he's shown that he's human this year and he can have those down weeks, but still a top 5 option. Number 5, Justin Herbert, big riser of the ranks this past season. Was showing that boom or bust kind of ability at the beginning of the season, and now he's kind of developing that consistency. One of the great young quarterbacks in the league. The offense is really good. He's shown as well that he'll run the ball in the red zone if it's given to him. So I definitely like Herbert as a top 5 option here. Number 6, Aaron Rodgers, someone that I probably would have had ranked lower at the beginning of the year, but he's playing MVP level. He has a chip on his shoulder 24/7 now, so I feel like no matter really what's going on in the game, he'll be trying to throw tutties. And yeah, he's been kind of popping off the last month or so. That toe injury is totally fake, by the way, so don't think that that's going to hinder him. 7 and 8, this is kind of contingent on injury status. I've got Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Kind of similar-ish type quarterbacks for their fantasy production. Jalen Hurts has just shown this year that he's a focal point in the red zone, especially looking to run it around inside the 5. I think even a little bit more than Lamar has done this year. So his rushing floor and ceiling is pretty elite. And, he was quarterback 1 for a long time this year until the injury. Still kind of risky, though. Lamar, he could be QB1. He could also be QB16. He hasn't been too great lately. Does have an injury. I don't know if it's serious, but it's there. It might hinder his ability or willingness to kind of take off and run like we've seen before. Still definitely, if he's healthy, I'm probably playing him as a top 10 option. Number 9, Matt Stafford. This is a guy who he's not going to finish QB1 in the playoffs. No way. But his consistency, 300 yards, 2-3 TDs every week. He should be putting up 20 plus fantasy points every week, but he'll probably not be dropping any 30 or 35 bombs anytime soon. So I don't know if he's a guy that'll win you a week, but he won't cost you a week either. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Good quarterback, good offense. Just something's always up with the Cowboys. Something is always kind of in the way, stopping them from, I don't want to say greatness, but maybe consistency. Dak, we've seen it. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but sometimes things just aren't clicking in Dallas. I'd still be pretty confident, though, heading into the playoffs with him as my fantasy QB. Top 10 tight ends. I've got Kittle 1, Kelsey 2. If you wanted to argue otherwise, I wouldn't really care. I just think Kittle might have more big play ability. I mean, I could be wrong, though, because we literally saw Kelsey get a house call in overtime the other night, and he had like a 60-something yard catch and run before that. It did look like some pretty bad defending in those plays, though. And I just think Kittle might be, I don't know, I feel like he could be more of a game breaker. But either or are just as good. Number 3, Mark Andrews. This is kind of the, I think easiest number 3 call in terms of any position here. Focal point of his offense, definitely has a connection with Lamar, touchdown machine. They're only good for 60 to 100 yards, if not more as well. So I definitely like him. Number 4, Gronk. If Gronk's healthy, you play him. He's got Tom Brady. Brady loves him. He might get 2 touchdowns every week in the fantasy playoffs. Like, that's not impossible. I think since he's come back from injury, the worst he's had is like 65 yards or something like that. So his floor has been pretty good as well. Number 5, this is kind of where tight end gets real dicey. Number 5, Dawson Knox. Buffalo Bills. He's just, I don't know, he's a pretty good tight end. He gets a lot of looks in the red zone. Good offense. So, he could get 2 touchdowns for you one week easy, but then he could also just get 20 yards or kind of just disappear for you. So much more boom or bust. Dallas Goedert, pretty similar. Another focal point of his offense there, but just not as much of a pass-heavy offense. He's shown us he can goose like he did a couple weeks ago, and then he turned it around with 20 points, like 100-something yards, 2 TDs. So he's definitely top 10. I just don't think he's in the type of situation that can, consistently have him as a top 5 option. He could be above Dawson Knox, though, if you wanted to argue that for sure. Number 7, Darren Waller. This is kind of contingent on his injury. He's not playing this week. He hasn't played for a couple weeks. I'd be worried if we see the Raiders kind of get out of playoff contention here, they might shut him down. But if he's healthy, he's capable of kind of taking over a game and essentially being a wide receiver 1 for his team. So if he's healthy and the offense in a good game script, he could be top 5 tight end for sure. But definitely you're going to want to have another option on your team if Waller's your current guy. Number 8, Dalton Schultz. Kind of hit or miss, but he's shown that, there's times where he can handle a lot of target volume. He's obviously got TD upside playing in a good offense every week. He's got a connection with Dak, but still, he's my own tight end heading into the playoffs after Hawkinson went down, and I'm not too confident, but I still like the upside there. Number 9, Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this is kind of a gross ranking, to be honest. I mean, he still has the potential for a rookie breakout. That's why he's still here in the top 10. Like, we know he's that elite talent. His target share has been good. Like, he only has, I swear, 1 or 2 touchdowns on the year, and he's still, top tight end 8 or tight end 10 or something. Like, his yards should be there for a stable floor, but I don't really trust it, and I don't trust Matt Ryan. Tight end 10, Mike Gesicki. This is just a guy who, sees targets in an offense and plays a lot of snaps. Not really the most touchdown reliable guy. Like some of these other guys I have ranked behind him could even have higher ceilings, like Zach Ertz. But tight end's hard to predict, so sometimes playing for the floor, playing for those yards isn't the worst idea. Kind of honorable mentions after him. Like I said, Zach Ertz, Tyler Higbee, Noah Fant, Pat Freiermuth, Hunter Henry. Tight end's pretty volatile. So if you don't have one of those top, I'm going to say, those top 7, 8 options, they're going to be locked in every week. And the rest, you might as well just play a guy who has a good matchup and might get a tight end or a touchdown. But those are the top 10s here at every position. Hopefully that wasn't too long. But yeah, I kind of want to hear who you guys have. Maybe if you play a different scoring setup, or if you play standard as well, kind of which of my takes you might agree with, which not. Maybe you think some of them are a little bold. You know what? This is kind of a homer take, but I almost wanted to put Rashad Penny as like a top 15 option here going to the playoffs because he's on my team. I scooped him up, but you can't be putting Rashad Penny on the list here. Like, odds are this guy's just going to get injured next game and his season's over. But when he's healthy, he's good. Like, he had 2 long TD runs last week, and he's trending to be the Seattle bell cow, and they have a really good playoff schedule. So if all holds up, like, don't be too surprised if that guy is like a fringe, RB1 for the fantasy playoffs, but don't come at me if he just, gets a calf injury on the first play next week and that's the year. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see. I'll try to get some more content out before the end of the fantasy football season. All right. Thanks for watching.